How you doing?
Doing good. How was your week?
Today was terrible.
Oh,
No,
well,
I shouldn't say
leaving.
that. I shouldn't say today was terrible. Um, I got 9 offers out today.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got four.
No, oh, nice. That's one
Yeah,
better than last week.
one better than last week.
So, well, remember I told you last week that I now have 1,000 subscribers on TikTok.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
I'm now live on TikTok. Hi, TikTok.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Great. See, you
So
got,
another platform. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So, but yeah, I've had some struggles the last 2 days. Well, Friday and today.
right.
Yeah, but so yeah, my Chicago deal, that subject to deal, it's an absolute nightmare.
Right.
Title company, they say they've done subject to deals before, but it seems like they haven't, and they are literally dragging their feet on everything. I was told that it was supposed to close last Friday, and that was from a conversation on Monday. And then I got an email from the girl that's supposed to close it to say, "Hey, can we close this on Monday? Because we still got to get some lien issues cleared up." And then I didn't hear from her on Friday, and I found out she didn't come to work.
Oh,
So then I called again today and found out she wasn't at work today. So then
and that's the
I
person with the clothes.
yeah, and then I talked to the person that had been working on it for the last 2 months to get it to the closer, and then she gave me the name of her manager. I called that woman 3 times today. Finally, got the receptionist to ring her phone so she'd pick it up, and she had no idea. I'm like, "Do you think you can close this next couple of months? What's the deal?" She had no idea, no idea, not a clue. And then the seller, um, Joe, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
Uh-huh.
If I have to do a deal with a Pace Morby trained TC, I'm going to charge them $10,000.
You're gonna charge the TC?
I'm going to charge somebody $10,000 because these people are absolutely horrible.
Oh, you're gonna charge the wholesaler, right?
We're supposed to close last Friday, and my buyer has now the other TC quit because she kept sending in the wrong paperwork, filled out incorrectly. And I kept saying to her, you know, it was just wrong. It was one thing after another was wrong. So she finally quit, and her boss, I guess the woman who she works for, took over. And the day before closing, all of a sudden, now she's got to talk to the seller about the paperwork that they need filled out. We've been under, I assigned that contract to that buyer on July 2nd. And the day before closing, now they got to talk to the seller about paperwork that needs to be filled out. And after me saying, no, you don't need to talk to the seller. Today, he finally said, I either talk to the seller or I'm backing out. I know. And I'm
But
like,
they, but the forms, everything's already filled out. Is that correct? They did all of the forms?
I don't, I I don't know what the heck's up with these people. I really just I don't know. So I just finally like, whatever. You want to talk to the seller, knock yourself out. I'm doing a live, man. How you doing? Actually, I got to run. I've actually got other people on here, so I want to mute you. Okay.
Would you TikTok?
I've never done it before, so I'm probably screwing it up somehow. But yeah. So anyway, so I've been being a fireman on that one all day long today. And then on Friday, my Macon, Georgia realtor wanted to pull out.
The the realtor.
The realtor. Yeah. I'm buying it from a realtor. She wanted to pull out. So I had to pull her off the ceiling. But the good,
Oh, because of the funding thing, right?
no, just because she's crazy.
Oh,
She said that I never provided with proof of funds. And I said, you never asked for it.
Oh.
She said, you haven't provided me with proof of um funding. I'm like, you didn't ask for it. She said, you didn't provide me with proof of the title company. I'm like, well, reread your contract because it's in the contract. And oh, by the way, here it is.
No.
And then, I mean, she had like 4 different things. And I finally, at the end of it, I said, by the way, none of these things are grounds for terminating a contract.
Oh wow, yeah. Then that's how you do that. You just let them know,
Yeah.
you know, because I mean, would that be considered breach?
Yeah, none of it was breach.
Right.
The fact
But
that I
if,
didn't
if
respond, the fact
uh,
that I didn't respond to your non-questions is not a reason.
right.
So then the other thing is, remember I told you I've been working on this marathon probate deal, and we paid the attorney $3,000 3 months ago, and he didn't lift a finger.
Right.
I
Oh yeah.
I called him every single day last week, and the receptionist got so frustrated they finally got me on the phone with the lead paralegal for the firm, and he couldn't have been more apologetic. And today I got an email this morning that that the legal document we needed to get filed was actually filed.
One document.
One,
One.
yeah, one. But
Oh,
the thing the reason I tell everybody this is this business is not easy. People will not tell you the truth. People you pay will not do what you pay them to do. And you just need to be calling every couple of hours until you get them on the phone and get them to do what they're supposed to do. It's the craziest thing in the world.
and these are people you hired.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so sick of this, how this title company's handled it. I may pull the making deal and start looking tomorrow for another title company, because when you say we're going to close on Friday and the girl who's supposed to close it doesn't show up for work for 2 days in a row,
Right.
and the file is at a dead standstill. And
That's not good business.
we've been working on closing this deal for 2 months.
Right.
I mean, I was told about these lien issues 2.5 weeks ago, and they've done nothing about it. It's amazing to me, and I find it in my manufacturing business, how some vendors will be great, and then all of a sudden they're not.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's no way to explain that. It's just one of those things. They just took a different direction, and
Yeah. And the thing about it was the woman who I had done many deals with, she actually quit the company 2 weeks ago.
oh,
It's like, shit, I'm 6 weeks down the road and you're quitting.
uh,
But anyway, yeah. So now I had a buyer on the Chicago deal that said, if you don't give me what I want, I'm out. And the good thing is I've already spoken to a private money lender that if this guy doesn't close, I'm going to just go ahead and buy it myself.
Oh, that's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. I showed him the deal. I mean, I showed him the deal, and he's like, you only need 16.5 to close this plus closing costs, which is going to be about $3,000. So you need 20 grand. No problem. Subject to deal. No problem. But I've given this buyer everything he wants. And if he doesn't close, oh yeah. And then I found out on Friday, this transaction coordinator was emailing the title company to see if they could get the EMD back. Well, unfortunately, it's a $3,000 non-refundable EMD.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But so they knew that in the beginning.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, man, and I told you about the buyer on this property beforehand. The deal was they were going to give the seller $9,000. They were going to give the seller a $26,000 second that would be due in 7 years and like $100 a month payments. And then outside of the transaction, they were going to pay me $5,000.
Right.
And my seller didn't want to do that. So what I did is I said, all right, take my $5,000 plus the $9,000 or $9,500, give it to the seller, which gets her all the cash, and I'll take the note, the $26,000 note that was due in 7 years, and you pay me $100 a month. And the Pace Morby sub-2 student backed out, and the reason was we don't pay wholesalers that much money. I know.
Wow.
This is what Pace Morby is training people to do. This TC going around my back trying to get the EMD back. Not even the buyer. It was the transaction coordinator. Oh, yeah. And saying on the day of, because they expected to close last Friday, that all of a sudden magically on day of closing they have to talk to the seller and get paperwork signed. Day of closing, and they signed the assignment agreement July 2nd.
So did you get any of those forms? Anything from the TC or the other wholesaler?
Nope.
So you're the buyer.
I'm the buyer. And I signed that contract on July 2nd. And the day of closing, all of a sudden, magically, they had paperwork and they had to talk to the seller immediately. Day of closing. Now, granted, it didn't close because of what I told you about the title company. But but the buyer didn't know that. And like I'm telling you, man, this is the third deal I've had to deal with these Pace Morby trained TCs, and it's a nightmare every single time.
All right, when you do with doing myself, you won't have to go through that nightmare.
Yeah. So that being said, but yeah, looks like this making deals moving forward. Got it completely 100% funded. We're gonna let the property season for 90 days. On the 91st day, my private money lender gets his money back plus interest. I got the property under contract for 100,000, it's worth 100,000. I got it under contract for 60.
So it went through just exactly what you had when we were trying to find the funding for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I just want to let everybody know, because I want to start out today. I got out 7 offers. All that crap I had to deal with today, and I still got out 7 offers.
Nice.
Yep. So, like I said, my goal is 10. My minimum is 5. I don't care what it takes. And yes, Dennis Sylvan, one of those 7 was, or excuse me, not 7. I got 9 offers out, and one of those was yours.
So when you say you got the offers, are these just to the agents or are these to direct to seller?
Agents.
I mean, direct to buyer.
Agents.
Agent.
What I'm doing is I'm going through the 100+ days on market list.
Okay.
I call up the agent and say, hey, listen, I saw your listing. I want to make an offer on a property. What's your email address?
Okay.
And I make a subject to offer, and I plan on making 100 of those this month. And I've already had 2 get back to me and say that the seller will consider seller financing. And obviously I'm offering no money up front. That's kind of a negotiation thing. But when they come back and say, sure, I want some cash, I'm like, all right, that's fine. But when they want cash, then the purchase price goes down.
Okay.
So my terms, highest price, they start wanting terms, I adjust the purchase price. And what I was telling Dennis Sylvan earlier when I was putting together his deal is it's 2 to 1. So for every $1 of cash I've got to give them, I take $2 out of their equity. So if they want 10 grand, it's going to cost them 20 in equity. If they want 5 grand, it's going to cost them 10 in equity.
Okay.
Yep. Now I learned that from Ron LeGrand back in the day.
Yeah, that's good to know, because I have a property in St. Louis. We're dealing with this guy who lies through his teeth, because on day 1 we made him an offer of 65 with a 30-day close. And I said, 2 weeks for that is due diligence and 2 weeks closing.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I've already done the due diligence and I can send you the, the certificate, the title holding cleared and everything. And I said, no, we do our own. I'm not gonna go by what you say. I don't know what you're sending me.
Yeah.
So he didn't want that. He said, no, I already have somebody at $70,000 for a duplex. And 2 weeks closing. I said, okay, fine, go give it to him. He calls me in the evening. He's trying to argue with me. And I said, look, you have a buyer. Why are you after me? Go. So he went for 3 days. And today he comes back with, we'll give it to you for 68,000 with 3 weeks closing. So I'm going to talk to him and I'm going to say, no, now it was 68 3 days ago, but after giving it some thought, I want it for 65 at 30-day closing.
Right.
Because now I know he has nobody.
Yeah.
Or he wouldn't have come back to me and reduced his price from 70 to 68.
And I just want to let you know that given what's going on with the Federal Reserve and all that stuff, the avalanche, they can't hold back the avalanche forever.
Yeah.
I mean, with mortgage rates now over 7.6%, and the supply of money's been cut down by almost 2/3, these realtors are starving to death.
Yeah.
There's no buyers in the marketplace. Now, granted, people in Arizona, Texas, Florida, they're all going to argue, but the rest of the country,
is knowing what to do. So here's my question. Now we want to do this as a buy and hold, and we want to put it into Section 8 because it's not an Airbnb location, right? So we want to do Section 8. I know I'm going to get my rent no matter what happens. The houses over there are renting for about $900 to $1,000 a unit. This is 70,000. The ARV with the repairs that needs to be done is about 102,000.
the repairs are 102.
No, total, the ARV after repairs. The repairs about 15,000.
Oh, yeah, that's lipstick then. Okay.
So the total I'll get for it, it's an all-in with repairs at 75.
Right.
Because the cash buy, I have a friend of mine who has the money and she wants to JV with me on it.
Very nice.
So she's like, don't worry about getting, loans and all, we'll just JV on it. When we sell, I'll take my money. Don't have to worry about it. So I said, okay, so the money issue is resolved. I'm not worried about that. What I want to know is, how do I know this is a good deal to buy, like rent wise? It's going to generate $1,000. Because I keep hearing this 1%. And then when I talk to agents, they're like, the 1% rule doesn't work. You have to buy year over year cash. I think that's what it's called. Cash over cash.
Cash on cash on cash return is what they're talking about.
Yeah. So how do you calculate that? Because I'm at a loss and I don't know which method to go with because they both have different, answers.
What's your total debt service?
What's that?
How much do you have? How much are your monthly debt payments?
It's going to be, wait, I need to give me a second here. Okay. I will open it up and let you
You've got a mortgage with your friend, right?
Yeah, so the mortgage is she's JVing with me. She's bringing in the money. We're gonna hire a management. We're doing Section 8. I don't know if we'll need a management company with that, but
you don't. But just count on 10%. All right. See how much you rent this for?
Between 900 and 1,000. So we're counting 900.
All right. So you're gonna look at $90 a month for property management.
For property management. Okay. So the total out of pocket is $13,260 on an annual basis. That includes tax and insurance.
$13,260 is your debt service?
Yes.
And then it's PITI, right?
And they pay the tenants will pay all the utilities. We're not gonna pick up on the utilities.
Yeah, they're separately metered. All right.
Right.
But all right, so 13,000 and you're gonna rent it at $900 a month, right?
Right.
I hate to break it to you. Oh, hold on a second. This is a duplex, right?
Yeah.
So it's 900 times 2.
Yeah.
So that's $1,800 a month.
Yes.
Yeah, big difference, folks. So, oop. So you're looking at $21,000 of gross revenues.
Okay, yes.
So then what you do is you take 21,000, excuse me, 13,260, divide that by, let's see if I'm doing this right. No.
Mm.
13,260. All right, so in comparison, when you're looking to do financing on a rental property, the mortgage company is going to look for a 1.2 or a 1.3 ratio of income to debt payment.
Okay, okay.
So,
How do you calculate that? That would be good to know because I have no idea.
all right, so you've got 2 units at $900 each, correct?
Yes,
That's 2 units, 2 times 900 is $1,800 a month.
right,
Multiply that by 12 because there's 12 months in a year.
yeah,
That gets you $21,600 in gross revenues.
right,
Your PITI is 13,260.
yes,
All right. And so you take your debt and you take your gross revenue, divide that by the 13,260, and that gives you 1.63.
so that's a good deal. It's
Right,
over the
but I
1%.
didn't add in any other expenses, like you want to have 10% for management, you want to have another 10% of money you set aside for repairs down the road,
Yeah,
and any other expense that you have.
okay,
So that being said, I just used the debt service to explain how you get that 1.6 number, which is your revenue to debt ratio.
okay,
And mortgage companies look for ratios of 1.2 and 1.3. So until you add in the other expenses of management and repairs, future repairs,
yeah,
then that number's probably going to go down to like 1.4. But that being said, 1.4 is a good number.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Now,
anything over 1.2, 1.3 is good,
yes, acceptable.
acceptable, okay.
Yeah. And what that means, if it was 1-to-1, that means you have enough money coming in to cover the debt.
Right.
At 1.2, 1.3, there's more money coming in than there is debt service,
Right,
which is
Okay.
what you want. That's
Right.
a net positive cash flow.
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And
Okay.
I'll tell you, just don't make the mistake of not taking that $100 a month or whatever, $90 a month, and putting it aside for repairs,
Yeah, yeah,
because repairs get expensive
right.
in a hurry.
Well, the girl who's bringing in the money, her cousin is a GC in Chicago.
Yeah.
So he said if you need repairs, he's willing to go down and do it for us.
Sure, but it's still going to cost you money for materials.
But so he said just he'll give it to us at cost and materials, because he doesn't think that once the rehab is done, like the upgrades are done, it would be anything major. He's gone and looked at the house with my friend.
Question is, how old is the roof?
6 years.
Okay, so you're good on that. How old are both of the water heaters?
That needs to be changed.
Okay, so you're looking, what, $150 for each water heater?
Yeah, give or take.
Okay, but you can see how those expenses can add up in a hurry,
Yeah,
because now your expenses are times 2.
times 2, right. Okay.
All right, so question, how many offers did you get out today?
Today I got out only 4, but I've been averaging 5.
Okay,
So I'm proud because I went up from 3.
good.
The other question I have is, can you walk us through what Gator lending is and how we would go about doing that without paying base an arm and a leg, because I've put $17,000 into mentorships that haven't, given me a dime back yet. So I don't want to put anything more into any other mentorship or training.
How
without-
does Gator work?
Yeah,
Basically, you're gonna, all right, let's say you got $1,000 EMD you got to come up with.
right.
You go to somebody in the Gator community and you say, I need an EMD, and they'll say, sure, I'll give you the $1,000. And when you close it, you give me my $1,000 back plus another 1,000.
Okay, so it's usually double.
It doesn't have to be double, but that's kind of what I'm hearing. I mean, there's people out there that are absolute pigs that are like, oh no, I give you 1,000, you give me 3,000, 3,000 back, plus I want 40% of your deal.
Oh, that's crazy.
That, yeah, and you're like, and my response to them is not no, don't argue with them, just like, oh great, send me your term sheet.
Okay.
I got a whole bucket full of term sheets.
Oh, do you have one that you would use that I can look at?
What, a term sheet?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just an email. It's like,
Oh,
when
you
I say
can-
term sheet, that's like a bank thing. No, but
Oh.
what I'm saying is when I'm blowing somebody off because they're being ridiculous,
Yeah.
that's what it's my polite way of saying no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
But yeah, I mean, that's all Gator lending is they're not charging you an interest rate, which is a
Right.
security. What they're doing is they're just taking a chunk of your deal.
They're taking the chunk of the deal. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just double the,
Yeah.
most of the time, double what you've paid out.
Yeah. And I've had all kinds of craziness, like that,
So what do you put in place to protect yourself in case they run away with your $1,000?
well, no, you actually have a JV agreement with them.
Oh, you have a JV agreement?
Yeah, there's an actual contract.
Okay,
You don't give the money to the person that's doing the deal. You send the EMD directly to the title company with the
Okay.
JV agreement, which has the instructions about when you get paid, which is at closing.
at closing, okay.
And you just give the title company the instructions. You're giving them $1,000 at the closing table. You're going to get your 1,000 plus another 1,000 and your mailing address or whatever.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Third question and last question, promise.
No, let me piggyback on that for you. So
Okay.
what Mike says is actually true, but not all the Gators do the double this or the double that. So it depends on which Gator you deal with, because Joe and myself are Gators in this group. So
Oh, you
Yeah.
are a
you have-
dealer.
right,
Okay.
we're Gators. If you have detailed questions, you can always reach out to Joe and myself. We're not the
Okay.
greedy ones that are gonna double up all the stuff. We're the good ones.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
So we've gone through the program, we know what it is, but you have a lot of new people come in that are doubling up stuff and doing stuff not the right way, and they get hit along the way. So if you
Yeah.
don't have the right JV agreement, the right documentation, then you will lose your money, etc., etc. But we do it the right way, so no.
Okay,
So
that's good to know.
if you need any Gator help, just reach out to Joe or myself, and we're happy to
Will
help you.
do for sure. Thank you.
And I
Appreciate it.
100% agree with the two of them.
Okay,
I mean, I reached out to both of them on my JV agreement or my project up in Macon.
okay. Third question, you said that you had this guy you sent an email that if we have a deal, then we should let you know.
Yep.
What kind of deals is he looking for?
Yeah, I have questions on that.
Anything in the first position.
Anything in the first position?
Anything, any size, but it's got to be first position. And for example, the deal I have up in Macon, the bridge loan doesn't allow a second. So my
Yeah.
private money lender is going to do an unrecorded second.
Okay, so how would that work?
I'm not quite sure. I've never seen it, but I'm putting the two of them together and I'm going to learn as I go.
Okay, so if I need help, I will let you know. And when I find a good deal for John, I will reach out to you and then we can work through that together.
Yeah, and he's funneling them all through me because he's extremely hard to get a
Of
hold of.
course. No, and I understand that. And that's why I said I'll reach out to you.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I'm having a hard time getting a hold of him. I've got the deal. I have the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my
So,
question. When we have the deal, how do we reach out? Because do I send them through the Graded by Houses email
Yeah,
or?
I put together that webpage where you can actually download the PDF form.
Okay. All right, because when I try to do that, it takes me to your webpage and I wasn't
yeah,
sure.
it takes
So
me to your webpage too. It doesn't take me to the
All right.
downloading form.
yeah, and
After we get done here, I'll email it to everybody.
Okay,
right,
I'll
perfect.
email
yeah,
it for 'em.
because
And
it's
it
still
doesn't,
a little fuzzy mix up when we get to your webpage, what we need to put in, because it only allows us to put a property address and that's it.
And
Yeah.
if I don't email it out, yell at Joe.
okay.
Yes, Joe, we're gonna yell at you because we need that, because I have deals going by and I don't know where to
Yeah.
send them because I'm not getting the right info on the
And if there's
website.
an agent involved, it's okay, right? He's not going to be like Charlotte and say, I don't want anybody involved.
No.
Okay.
Because again,
Hey,
No,
guys,
there was a deal that we were trying to work. She asked me for a building, a property with, 215, 300 units. Mike gave me one and then she says, oh, I don't want any middleman. It has to be direct to seller. And I don't want this and I don't want that. And then when I questioned her on it, she got really nasty because she couldn't answer the questions.
And the two questions were, do you actually own an apartment building? And are you a CCIM? CCIM is a realtor who specializes in commercial properties.
CCIM.
CCIM. Yep. It's
So
a
it's-
national designation, but it's like getting a 4-year degree in real estate.
So it's like, it's Charlie, Indigo, Mike.
Exactly. So that being said, yeah, it's one of those things that, especially when you ask, people are like, yeah, I own apartment, or I know how to do apartment buildings. Oh, do you own one? And if they don't own it, if they've never been through it and they're not on the hook for it, that's very different than being an agent.
Right.
So anyway,
Okay, so those are my questions and
Okay.
I promise I'm done.
Okay. Who's next?
hey, everyone, please drop your contact information in the chat and make sure to download it. And my email is there, so if you need to yell at me right there at that email.
I made a note right here, but Joe's going to remind me to send that email out. Dennis Sylvan, come on down.
Sorry, this is a new computer. What happened? What happened?
You look taller.
I know, it's because it's a new computer.
Looks very clear.
Yeah. All right, what you got, brother? We gonna talk about that deal earlier?
I got 5 out.
Oh,
Thank God.
nice.
Been looking at some houses in Kansas City, Kansas.
You're the one.
There
Is
was a
that Kansas
gentleman.
City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri?
No, Kansas City, Kansas.
All right, because I'm working Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about that. It's hard.
Yeah.
The other thing that I was wondering was, it was very difficult to comp houses there.
Yeah,
It was very,
I think it's a non-disclosure state because Zillow has no information either.
yeah. It just came by default. The gentleman was on Astro, asked for some help, and so I saw it and I called.
Right.
And he's been very nice, very cordial. He's done a couple flips where he's broken even. So he doesn't like that. So that's why he joined Astro. And he's doing all right. He gave me a couple of leads that are, he said he paid about $200 for them. And I'm like, wow. So I called on one, she hung up on me, so I emailed her.
What's your question there, my brother?
My question is, what happened? You were going to tell me a story.
Oh, all right. So about an hour and a half ago, Dennis called me up and he's got a subject to deal in Sunrise, Arizona, and he wanted me to do the numbers and write up the contract, which I did. And in that time, I was lamenting about the deal in Chicago, where the buyer, who I had the contract assigned to him on July 2nd. So what is that? 7 weeks ago, and we were supposed to close on Friday, and all of a sudden, Friday morning, he had paperwork, and well, his Pace Morby trained TC had paperwork and that needed to be filled out with the seller, and they had to talk to the seller on Friday. This is day of closing.
Okay.
To which I said, why do you need to talk to the seller? I'm the seller. And she then, now this is the woman who says she owns this company, this TC service. And the girl that she replaced that was working for her was just screwed up a lot of the paperwork from day one. And, I was like, mistake. And I actually had a Gator call me up on my making deal. And I told him, I said, I hate these Pace Morby trained TCs. I gave him the girl's name. And the next thing you know, the next day she quit. So then this woman's all angry at me. And she called up and this morning and was just, demanding to speak to the seller. I've got a TC demanding to talk to the seller, not the buyer, the transaction coordinator. To which I said, well, no, you don't need to. I mean, this seller is flaky. She's behind on her payments. She's behind on her taxes. She's got code violations, and she's got an outstanding water bill. Nobody needs to be talking to her because she's flaky to begin with. And this woman, when I said, no, you don't need to talk to the seller, she actually said, I don't appreciate you saying negative things about my company, and then hung up. And then told my buyer that I was rude to her.
Wow.
This is what I'm saying. This is the Pace Morby trained TCs. Third deal in a row. Each one of them is exactly the same.
So what are they doing that's wrong? What they should they be doing?
Well, first of all, you don't wait 7 weeks and then day of closing demand to talk to the seller because you've got paperwork that you didn't bother to send to the title company.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a major red flag. But, like we had addendums, and the girl prior to her would send me the addendum to be signed, and she would have the addendum between the seller and his personal name and me and my personal name when the seller has a LLC and I have a LLC. The addendum has to match the original contract. Now that's basic. I mean, you should be able to read the contract, and that's the two parties. It's not two personal people, it's two corporations. And she did that multiple times. You think, you make a mistake once, well, all right. But then when you make it like 3 or 4 times, like, why are you making the same mistake twice or 3 times or 4 times? And this coming from the original TC who called me up, didn't even call me up, sent me a text and said, I've called your title company and they don't do subject to deals. Now, there's a title company that I've done other subject to deals with before. So it was just one thing after another. And then all of a sudden, this girl gets on the phone with me, this woman, I don't know, gets on the phone with me, and she demanded to talk to the seller, and then told me she didn't like what I was saying about her company, and then hung up the phone, and then told my buyer that I was rude.
So I'd like to share something with you guys. I'm not sure how many people are Astro, but there was a pop quiz for a comping session that Damji is going to give. And it was the house that his sister and him are doing the pad split. And I'm almost sure of it. And it was for $200,000. They purchased a 3-2, and they're going to make it a 6-3, and which is cool. So he wanted everybody to comp it. So I comped it, It's on a main road. You got a minus 10, 15%. It's fronting. And I put my ARV and my comp in. And then I started noticing everybody else, different numbers, way different. Everybody was either high or low. And I was like, wow. And then I posted, I go, it seems kind of odd that everybody's number is different.
Well, that's, you don't know where people are in their training. So, hey,
Yeah,
you got another question?
yeah. Well, no, not yet. Let me think about it.
All right. Who's next? Anybody else? Got anything they want to talk about? Got any deals going on? Anybody got any deals that going on since we started doing this?
Since we've started doing this,
Yeah, since we started doing these IM calls, has anybody completed a deal?
I haven't.
You have? Oh, you haven't?
I have not, but I have an unusual one. This is a homeowner that has a mortgage on the house of like 356, and they're borrowing 15K, no, 25K, and they're trying to pay was it 25% for it, but they want to borrow it for 4 months, and they're trying to sell it for 450, I think. Whatever they're gonna sell it for, they're gonna make about 94,000. So I'm trying to comp it in the area, and they're giving me, this is a single-story house, and the seller is working with a realtor, and she's sending me 2-story houses to comp, and I'm like, that's not how we do it. It needs to be single. I mean, it needs to be. I mean, it needs to be the same, and she didn't understand that. And
Can I
then go ahead.
Can I change your language a little bit?
Yeah.
Don't say that's not how we do it. Say that's not how the appraiser does it.
The appraiser. Okay. All right.
Nobody cares how we do things. And what we do is we follow the way the appraisers do it.
The appraiser, right? Okay.
Because at the end of the day, the bank is going to believe the appraiser.
Appraiser, right.
Now, can we somehow influence the appraiser? Well, yeah. Like that deal I got up in Macon. It was listed at 100,000. And when I got it under contract, I asked the realtor to bump it by 20,000, and she did. I mean, within like 25 minutes.
Oh boy.
So what'll end up happening is the appraiser, when I get the appraisal done, the appraiser will look at my listing, and then we'll look at other listings that have sold around the area. And I know there's other listings that have sold for like 130. That's why I had her bump it up. But that's how you can influence an appraiser. The other thing too is you can actually pull your comparables and then meet the appraiser at the property, and just like, hey, I know you can't use these, but I might find these interesting, and then you hand them to him, and you know what happens? He goes, yeah, I can't use these. He puts them in his folder, and then later on he goes, I'm going to use those. I've used that trick for 20 years.
So when you're doing the comp, do you do the square foot as close as possible to what the house is that you're trying to buy?
Yeah. Usually,
Okay.
I usually set my filters to within 10%.
10%. Okay.
Now, year built, it's plus 10 years, minus 10 years, until you get to houses like, I'm talking about Kansas City, Missouri. You got a lot of houses that were built in the around 1900. Well, what you're doing when you're setting your year built is you want the houses in the same architectural era. So anything in the 1900s, you can comp up to 1930 because they're all pretty much the same Victorian style. But then after 1930, then you get out into the, World War II, post World War II stuff. That's where you start seeing specific architectural periods, and it changes about every 10 years. That's why.
That nationwide, Mike?
What's that?
My bad. Is that nationwide, or is that just specifically in Kansas City?
No, it's nationwide.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to verify.
For example, down here in Florida in the 1960s, prior to 1966, when they invented air conditioning, everything was built off the ground. So you had airspace so the air could go under the house. Well, after they invented air conditioning, now everything's on a concrete slab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then back in the 70s, everything was copper. Nowadays, or back in the 80s and 90s, that's when they started putting plastic tubing in the houses. Now they're not even using the PVC pipes. Now they're using actual flexible hoses, like a nylon type of thing. So and you can see the materials change over time. And that's what you're trying to do when you're comping, is you want to stay within 5 to 10 years plus, or 5 to 10 years minus, so the house has got similar construction. So you want similar construction, you want similar square footage, you want to be within 2,000, 2,500 square feet on your lot. You guys all have Jamil's latest comping rules, correct?
Yeah, I had an agent tell me that anything up to about 1960-ish was roughly the same out here in Phoenix. That's the reason why I wanted to verify it. I just figured every part of the country is different. You guys got certain types of homes in Florida and whatnot, but yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I realize there's a big difference between central air and swamp coolers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good stuff though. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Let me say that those are general rules, but yes, that's a good point. Each individual area has its own nuances. i.e., living in the desert is very different than living in Seattle. Arizona, you get 8 inches of rain, it's all in one day. Seattle, you get 8 inches of rain every other day.
Right. Okay. No, I
Or if you're in
appreciate
Southern
it.
California, you get 8 feet in like 12 hours.
Right. Especially right now.
Yeah. Man, when I saw that hurricane barreling down on San Diego, I'm like, that water is going to come flying out of those mountains like nobody's business.
Yeah, it don't make no sense, to be honest. We don't know what we're doing out here. It's kind of crazy right now, to be honest. It's different. We're not used to this. We're used to just chilling out this way. But yeah,
Hey,
it's wild.
For all my Arizona people, because I went to college at the U of A, how many rivers don't actually have water in it? But when it does, it's like, get out of the wash, because you will die. Because that water, it might be raining 50 miles away, but that wash is going to fill up in a hurry.
Yeah, there ain't no drainage system out here because there's no reason to have it.
When I first got out to college, I'm like, why does it say river? There's no water.
Right.
Because when it rains,
downtown,
there's water.
Big time.
That water
No, I
comes
agree.
flying out of those mountains.
Yeah, it's different. No question.
So, hey, Adrian, you got any questions for me?
Nah, I don't got no questions. I had to cancel a deal. Probably would have closed today, actually on the 21st. It was a probate issue. I guess the sellers weren't the real sellers, and they have to sign off on paperwork. So it would have taken 4 months to close. I just kind of canceled it. I'll come back when I come back. But I haven't locked up anything else. I'm close on a couple other ones. My numbers are off just because the market is kind of shifting out here in Phoenix. I'm getting more aggressive because there's less inventory. So, and there's so many wholesalers out here, it just kind of, it makes it tougher. So it's hard to be able to pinpoint the right numbers. And I don't want to keep canceling, but I'd rather lock up a deal and retrade if I have to, but nothing major.
How
No
many
fight, Mark.
How many offers did you get out today?
Today I only got 2, kind of slacking. Not gonna
What's your minimum per day?
5 at least.
What's your goal?
5 at least.
10.
Or
Your goal
10.
is 10.
10. All right, let's do 10.
Speaking of
Yeah, I
that, Carol,
agree.
I'm sorry. I think we cut you off a little bit. How many offers did you get out today?
I got 4 today.
Nice.
It's up from 3. I used to do 3, but now I'm averaging 4 or 5 a day.
Not Farah, Carol.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, I'm wrestling 3 deals right now. Hopefully they'll come through, but I haven't put any offer in, but I'm wrestling 3 deals.
How many offers you put out today?
I did not put any offer in.
All right. You didn't.
I mean,
so far you're the only one that didn't put any offers. So you got to buy.
no. Well, I didn't put any offer in, but I did find 3 borrowers, lenders, and they just need to decide.
Okay. All right. All right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You're more focused on doing the money flipping thing as a.
Yeah. I thought about putting a deal, but somebody need to tell me how to put together an offer letter. How to do that.
Oh, let me know. I'll give you my template.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I need an
Just-
offer letter because I said I'm gonna go and deal and make, and I don't know what the first clue what to do, how to say, and what to do in that offer
Let me
letter.
ask you. Let me ask you a question. Why do you want to use an offer letter as opposed to a contract?
As opposed to a what?
A contract.
So that's the thing. I've not put one in, so I don't know what the lingo is. Offer letter, contract, I don't know.
Right.
Right. Because all I've been doing is get a lending. I haven't done any offers yet.
Right.
So yeah, not an offer letter, a contract. But when you approach the seller, you have to, how do you go about it and say, this is what I want to offer you? I mean, do you have to put that in writing or you have to say it verbally?
Okay. When you're making offers, verbal offers are okay. You can do a letter of intent. But what I've discovered is the agents take you more seriously when you just send over a contract.
Okay, so just send a contract to the agent.
Yep. That's what I do.
Okay.
Dennis called me up, and said, listen, I got this subject to deal. I have no idea how to make an offer on this. So I went through the numbers with him. I wrote up the contract and then emailed them the contract.
Okay. So let's write up your contract. Have somebody look at it, and then if it's good, we send it to the agent.
Yeah. I started that months ago because I was doing letters of intent and I was getting nowhere with the agents. Now I call them up, I ask them for their email, I send them a contract.
Okay, cool.
And the funny thing is I actually get, agents back like, well, how much are you putting down and what's the interest rate? And I'm like, you can't read a contract? That's not the offer. The offer's on the contract. See, when it's on a contract, it's not ambiguous at all.
Right. They can't say I didn't hear you said this and you didn't say that. It's on the contract.
Right.
Okay.
And the thing is as we have discussed many Mondays, these realtors are so lazy they don't want to write up these contracts. So I'm like, if you're going to be so lazy, you're not going to write up a contract, you're going to use mine. And guess what? Mine's got a 15 business day inspection period. Mine's got a 60-day close. Mine's got $1,000 EMD that I never have to send in.
Okay.
My contract is going to be going to be heavily weighted towards me.
Yeah, it's going to benefit you. Yeah, that's true.
As opposed to the contracts that the agents use that are heavily weighted to the agent.
Right. Yeah. So send them your contract.
When I started in the real estate business and I had my real estate license way back in early 2000s here in Florida, the FAR bar, the Florida attorney bar real estate contract was like 3 pages. Now it's like 16.
So do you use Jamil's or is there a specific contract per state?
The contract I use, I got from Ron LeGrand 20 years ago.
Can you send a copy to me?
Yeah.
Blank.
Put a copy in the group.
Yeah. And if I don't send it to you afterwards, who do you yell at?
Joe.
Yeah.
Because I will forget, and his job is to remind me and kick me in the butt.
Yeah, Joe's gonna get a lot of yell at if we don't get this stuff together.
That's right.
I'm updating my notes right now.
All right, I'm gonna get some text from you, Joe.
Hey, Dennis Sylvan wants to ask a question. What's going on with Dennis Sylvan?
I got 2 or 3 different questions now.
Go.
One, on the ARV, I guess the prospect on how to prospect the ARV on a house comping. If the house is under $10,000 or under under $500,000. Each room is $10,000 plus or minus, correct?
Hang on. So I will grab the Astro appraisal rules for 2023 so that I don't forget.
Yeah,
All
the
right,
way it's
so-
worded, it's kind of weird.
You're saying additional room?
If it's under $500,000, it's $10,000 per room, $10,000 plus or minus for a bathroom, correct? If it's over
hang on.
500,000, it's 25,000.
Yeah, I think that's right. Luxury home over 500.
Yeah, this one right here, though the sheet I have doesn't make that distinguish. It doesn't distinguish above and below $500,000 for bedrooms and bathrooms and pool and garage and car, but it does make that distinction for commercial traffic, siding, back, front. So that might be an update that I don't have, but again, I don't play in that market.
What market?
I'm
Oh, yeah.
until the market stops trending down in price, I'm
Yeah.
staying below the median for any particular market.
Correct.
And there are no markets that I'm looking at where the median is over 500 grand.
Well, the reason why I ask is because I have people that just send me pocket listings are what they're called. And so I just comp them and send them through because I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna. What's the old expression? I'm not gonna lick a gift horse in the mouth or something.
Don't like a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah. So if it's there, I'll just comp it and go.
Don't get me wrong. There are buyers in that price range, but there are a whole lot more buyers below the median. And the
Okay.
reason why is the people that were in the median are still, below the median. All the people that were above the median up to 1.5 million have moved down. Because while your mortgage payments have tripled, how many people do you know their incomes have tripled?
Okay.
That's right, nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody's income has tripled in the last 3 months, last 18 months, but everybody's mortgage payment tripled in the last 18 months.
My other question was on contracts, where the blank spaces, where you can add or washer, dryer, refrigerator, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that where you put your make it assignable?
No. Assignable goes in the first line. If you look at the contract I wrote for you, it says the name of my LLC / and or signs.
And or assigned.
Yep, it's right it's my company or whoever I assign it to. And I've had agents say, well, we don't want this contract to be assignable to somebody else. I don't want you to be able to wholesale this. I'm like, I buy 2 or 3 houses a month. I have several different companies. I don't know which company is going to buy it. So I need to be able to assign this. And then, you have an answer and they don't even think twice about it.
Okay. Or you can do transactional funding, I guess, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if the contract, if the seller says, I don't want it to be assignable, then just double close it.
Okay.
And
I think that's
we've got people in the group here that can double close.
And then there was something that I saw today. Some gentleman was telling me about it. On Zillow, I think you can do this with a Redfin. You can put in all your prospects, your medium home price and everything like that. And I didn't know this, but you can have Zillow or Redfin send you all those leads. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll send them to you instantly.
Yeah.
Where do you put
Over
that
and over
all
and
the
over and over and
information?
over.
What you do
Where
is you put in your parameters and then you save it as a search.
Yep.
Okay.
And then it'll email you. Yeah.
It'll ask you, do you want it sent every day, every week, or instantly?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And
If
I
you
did
have any
that.
problems, call me.
I did that for a while, and it'll send you everything that's brand new on the market. And here's the thing, folks, and this is why I track days on market for all the markets. Until that listing hits the average days on market, the realtor believes there's a bank-funded cash buyer out there for the property. You call them up and they're like, oh no, we're not going to take any low offers. We're not going to take any creative offer. We're not going to take anything other than a fully funded bank offer. Now, that being said, once it goes past the days on market, they start getting a little, well, and then once it goes past 100 days, then they're like, all right, I'll take whatever you send me. But that's why I shut that service off, is because the ones that just hit the market, it's, you know, at full retail, it just clogs up my email. And it's not like Privy. I don't know how to set Zillow to send me the stuff that's at 50% of ARV.
So
Zillow or Privy will do that, but I don't know that Zillow will.
So you can
Oh.
set the same thing up on Privy as well?
Yeah.
Oh,
I get
okay.
I get emails at noon every single day
Okay.
for
Really?
all the different searches I've got set up.
oh wow, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, you can go into Privy and set up those searches. You know, and you can put it, you can put in your percentage of ARV, and it'll figure out the percentage of ARV. And if it's, you know, below, I think my searches are below 60%, it sends it to me.
Okay.
No, mine are at 65, but
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I put in all kinds of parameters, like 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet, under, you know, under 60% of ARV. It's not perfect, but it works.
Wow.
Yeah, Privy is pretty
Wow.
powerful. I mean, in the markets where they have direct access to the MLS, Privy is real powerful. In the areas where they don't have direct access to the MLS, where they're using third-party data, it's kind of wonky. But
Yeah,
that's,
and
that's
ahead.
why when you hear me doing comping and stuff, that's why I use PropWire, I use Zillow, and I use Privy. Between the three of them, I get pretty good ballpark.
Yeah, I've already told Pete and Heidi if they ever needed to, you know, use my Privy, just let me know. I mean, there's no need for you to go buy it if you can't afford it right now, because I know it's gone up $50 and it's not cheap. It's not cheap anymore. They're going to go up.
Well, one of the things that that I've learned about PropWire is PropWire is getting its information, it's getting its data from Zillow. I figured that out last week.
Hey, Dennis, are you in Phoenix?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
a couple people told me Privy isn't too good in Phoenix. Have you really used it a lot? That's the reason I didn't get it. They just said that some of the data isn't too strong. But
Well, it's not too strong, but it also works. It works. And like Mike said, go outside, Dennis, 40 minutes outside of Phoenix. You are not going to get anything in Phoenix right now, because you got Pace Morby, you got Demille Damji, you got Eric Sage, you got everybody and their mama that are have been doing this for a while, making a lot of money to get a deal. Everybody is swamping everybody's deal. So yeah, I've been using it. And sometimes what will happen is you'll have Privy and it won't show you anything, even a picture. And then below it, it'll show external source. And I click on it, it'll usually be Redfin, but sometimes it's Zillow, and I go off that and I start looking at that one. And then I open my other tab for PropWire and I look at that, and it gives me all the APN and everything else as well. And PropWire will give you some pictures, usually not as good as Zillow or Privy,
Right.
but it has a lot of information on it, and you can actually skip trace the person. And you can actually go on YouTube. You know, I've been a lazy ass. I'll admit, okay, I'm lazy. I haven't gone on YouTube to learn how to use PropWire efficiently, and you can learn how to use it efficiently. It's just take your little bit of time and then, go from there. And
Yeah,
if you ever need to come over to my house and, I got Wi-Fi, I got VPN, you can always come over here and do whatever you need to do.
I'm
Okay,
telling
I
you,
appreciate that.
for what you pay for PropWire, you get a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
By the
I
way,
haven't, I mean, I just
free?
basically go
Adrian-
off Zillow.
Adrian,
Is
I was
it
kidding.
Papaya free?
Yes, I was just gonna say that, Adrian. I was kidding
Yeah.
you. PropWire is free.
Well, you could pay for it as well, can't you, for the skip tracing?
Yeah,
You have to pay.
you gotta pay for the skip tracing, but it's like 10 cents.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is 10 cents. Yeah.
Okay.
But even then,
Okay.
that's cheaper than a lot of other places.
It is, and PropWire is good. I mean, I've used it, but I just show strictly off Zillow. I just do it the old school way and just really pound through the listings. But the only reason why I do that is because a couple people told me that Curvy and Phoenix isn't really worth it. So I just kind of went off then, and I just said, let me just try it out this way and start out. But I'm thinking, I might as well get it, especially if there's so many other wholesalers out here, and I'm competing against everybody, and they already have it. So I'm just looking at different ways.
I would tell you what I tell everybody. And I figured this out 3 months ago now. You listen to the gurus, they're all talking about they're investing in Arizona, Texas, and Florida, which means that 95% of their students are going to do exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, there are screaming deals. I mean, like the one that I've got up in Macon. Macon's what? 45 minutes to an hour away from Atlanta.
Mhm.
And there's a property that's worth $100,000 that I got for 60.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is when, go to the major markets and then set up your whatever search parameter for 45 minutes outside of that area.
Okay.
Because-
What I'm trying to do is what I'm going to eventually do is end up hitting, I'm probably going to end up doing Las Vegas because I used to live out there, and then, probably some Atlanta and possibly Florida, like we spoke about before. But it's just the market out here. There's the inventory is drying up so fast all of a sudden this last month and a half,
Yeah.
specifically, and I've noticed it. And even the deals that you have, they're getting off. I mean, they're off Zillow quick. So I just want to adjust. I want to make sure that I can at least get something.
But listen to what you just said. You just picked 4 super competitive markets.
Yeah, but Vegas, from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of deals out there. It's going to be hard, but I think there's more than Phoenix. That's the issue. I
But
think Phoenix is one of the worst cities right now.
Yeah. But I mean, look at Vegas. I mean, what else is in Nevada other than Vegas?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So start looking east of the Mississippi, man. Columbus, Ohio,
Keep
Indianapolis.
hearing that. Okay.
Start looking at these cities. There's like 300 million houses in America, and they're not all in Arizona, Texas, and Florida.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, you can. I mean, was it Farah or was it Carol that was saying that has a friend up in Wisconsin that's killing it? Has
Yes.
a friend over in Charleston, West Virginia, killing it.
Yes, both places.
Okay.
Nobody,
Yeah,
you don't hear
definitely.
any of the gurus talking about Wisconsin or West Virginia.
No, or like Denver or something like that. You're
And
right.
people always say to me, hey, where does this subject to thing work? Where does this wholesaling thing work? And I'm like, anywhere people live in houses.
Mhm.
Now, that being
Hey.
said, you want to make sure that the area that you're farming has more than 50,000 people. Below that, there's just not enough inventory.
Right.
In other words, there's not enough people with house problems.
Okay.
You want to be in an area with 50,000 people or more. And that's why someplace like Madison, Wisconsin works. That's why Charleston, West Virginia works, because that's like the biggest city in West Virginia.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at other options. I ain't getting too greedy. I just need to expect this, to be honest, but
You're just
Yeah.
you're just in a super saturated market. So get out of it.
big time.
Yeah,
big time.
that's what I've been doing, man. And then also, if you need to get a proof of funds, go through Cap One Fund, talk to Nico or Luis. I'll give you their email and text and all that information. Just call me. And you can get one. I don't have to get another generic one
Mhm.
until December 2023.
Oh wow.
Now, my question to you, Mike, is because I had this conversation with your partner, Linda. Should I be getting a proof of funds for each property specific? Because it puts me in a better buying power with specific versus having a general?
Nope, one generic one. All you need is one generic one. I get $1 million. Nobody looks at it. The realtor just wants to know, just wants peace of mind in their head that you got the money. How many times have you been to a closing table where we're like, oh, can you bring do you have that $1 million with you with that proof of funds? Never. The realtors are just trained that, it's kind of one of their things that they ask to filter out the beginners, I mean, and you can get a free POF anywhere. And, I turned you on to, the reason I got turned on to Linda is because I was using Jamil's, and what I have a working agreement with Helena Wu that when I have a deal fall through here in Florida, she'll go and retrade it because I've learned what the number they won't take. And I've also probably learned the number that they will take. And then she tries to get the house, at our number below what they want. But we did the first one we did that on, she used the same proof of funds letter that I had. And the realtors are, they're not the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they're not idiots either. So we just needed a different proof of funds. That's why it's always good to have two different ones. So no, you only need one generic proof of funds. In my opinion, because I've been using Gmail's. I got the generic one from Gmail way back in January, and nobody questions it. As a matter of fact, on my emails at the bottom, it says proof of funds on request. Well, you put that on there, the realtor's like, well, I don't need to ask for it because the guy's just going to send it to me.
Can I ask you another question? Because you just said something that really got my mind going.
Oh, sure. Now, well, you put it that way.
You just said something like you and Helena Wu did like a Batman and Robin on this retrade.
Yeah.
Should
Who
I
I
be
learned?
doing that with partners?
You know who I learned that from? It's she and John Galan do that.
So you put in an offer, and they're like, "Nah, that needs to be a little higher." And then she puts in a different offer.
Yeah, because I'm talking to them, they reject my number, but they tell me what number they need to be at. I tell Helena, and she knows where the seller is now, and she tries to get it below that number.
Batman and Robin, we need that.
And I didn't make that up. I heard John Galan talking about that on one of his webinars when I was watching those back in the day.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't invent that. Yeah. No, man, team up. Team up. Retrade these things. Heck, where I learned about that is Helena and John were working on a deal in was it Plant City? Not Bartow, Brandon. They were working on a deal in Brandon. And the seller was going back and forth going, hey, I've got a buyer at this number. Can you meet this? And then he go back to John and go, I got a buyer at this number. And then all of a sudden, John and Helena are like, that realtor is playing you and me against each other. And then once they realized it, then they teamed up and ganged up on the realtor. But that's how they figured it out. They were bidding against each other, except they talk to each other every day because they're partners. Yeah, and so anything I mean, granted, I'm not focused on Central Florida right now, but if I get a contract that doesn't get accepted, flip it over to another investor that you can trust, and split the assignment fee if one of you gets it. You just look like you just ate a canary. What's up?
Well, I have one that's a retrade, and I tried the Tranter Brothers, and they didn't say anything. I found one that was like right on a major street, and it was high end again, but
Well, I bet you if you
the
call
real estate,
I bet you if you
Really?
called Joe Figueroa, he'd retrade with you.
Okay.
Who
Oh,
how about Adrian? Isn't Adrian out there? Adrian Watson, aren't you out there in Arizona?
Yeah, I'm out here.
Team up with
Definitely out
Adrian. Team up with
Okay.
Adrian. You guys can tag team these realtors.
All right, I
Yeah,
got
we
one. So
can.
just call me after the Zoom.
Because
Okay.
you've gone through all the time and effort of talking to this realtor and figuring out what the situation is. They turned down your offer. That gives Adrian a heads up when he goes in and starts working with the realtor.
Did the trainers give you a reason, Dennis?
No, but no.
All they're telling you is they're the wrong partners for what you're looking to do. But I'll bet you Adrian would be more than happy to go bounce them back and forth with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
I
to
will.
I have to recalculate the numbers on the house and look at it and make sure that it's a profitable house at that 645 mark. They wanted
Well,
673 or something.
When the agent rejected your offer, did you go back and what do you think the seller would take?
He told me what the seller would take.
Now you tell
$30,000
Adrian.
$30,000 less on that one on Camelback. That's sitting on Camelback Road.
So
on
Adrian,
80.
so my advice to you, Adrian, start at 40.
Okay.
They'll take 30. You come in a total stranger at 40. Well, you're a lot closer than Dennis was.
Mhm.
You're not where they want to be, but you're closer than Dennis was.
Yeah, at least we make some money off it. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, and then just if it works out, then just split the assignment fee. I'd rather have 50% of something than 100% of nothing.
I agree. I 100% agree. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Well, here's the interesting part. I had a house that was like 830. Okay. This is way before we started these Zooms. And I was at like 515 ARV, because it was 50%. This house just sold for $930,000.
Wow.
So someone's going to buy it and do whatever they need to do.
Yeah,
Someone
right.
will buy it. Someone will
Yeah.
buy
yeah.
it. There's a sucker born every minute.
But the
It's just
problem
not
with
this one right now.
the problem with a wholesale contract is you've got your EMD going hard in 15 days or less. And then, we put these ridiculous restraints on ourselves, like, oh, I can close in 21 days. I can't tell you how many buyers are just not, there's no fire under the buyers today. They're like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Well, that screws you on your contract. That's why I set my closings 2 months out. That's why I put my inspections 15 business days. And the reason why is because everybody's moving at the speed of cold molasses. So I'm trying to buy myself as much time to get rid of my contract.
Do a lot of realtors back? Do they push back on those long?
Oh,
2
yeah.
months and
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
They push back on them. And then it's a negotiation. Everything's negotiable, but it's the same thing. It's very difficult to retrade down, real easy to retrade up.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
So start down. So, I'm like, and the other thing too, is when I put the deadline 2 months out and they push back on it, I'm like, that's the longest we're going to take. This is a screaming deal. We're going to do it anytime before that. And that usually overcomes the objection,
Okay.
which, by the way, is exactly how I handled my realtor who wanted to back out on Friday on the Macon deal. What do you mean we're not going to close for 60 days? I'm like, that's not what it says. It says anytime before that.
Mhm.
But God forbid, bank holds you up, your lender holds you up, your title company holds you up. There's liens on the property, blah, all kinds of crap that comes up that takes forever to fix. Which, by the way, in my contract, if there is a title problem that's caused by the seller, my contract automatically gives me a 1% discount because they can't close. And as it takes time to fix these things, I get a 1% discount every single month it takes the seller to clear the title.
I wish you would have told me that before, because that's what I wrote in this past contract. Yeah,
Guess how I learned that?
same way.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why we're gonna get Mike send us a contract so we can see what he got.
Exactly.
Right.
Here's the deal.
Joe.
Here's the deal, people. A contract, a contract can be as simple as the subject property, the seller, the buyer, and consideration. It can be on a bar napkin. A contract is just what two people agree to. And what my contract is full of is 20 years of mistakes. Every time I've made a mistake, that goes in the contract. And I learned that from the guy that taught me real estate. That's my mother's former husband, who I'm still really, really good friends with. But he's a real estate auctioneer, and his contract is 50 years of real estate mistakes.
Yeah.
It's one of those live and learns. It's like, oh crap, how did I not see that? Well, that goes in the contract.
Yeah, because I would have kept it. I just didn't want to wait 4 months for the money, and I'm thinking, if I even get it, but
think about that
Would've been worth it.
contract. If you had a title problem and you knew that if they couldn't close because of a title problem needed to be fixed, you got an automatic 1% discount.
yeah.
And then you get an automatic 1% discount every month.
Because I tried to retrade before, but if I would have had that in the contract, it would have already been there. I could have just left it as is.
And then when they
Right.
complain about it, you're like, hey, you signed it. I didn't sign. You signed it.
Mhm.
Not my fault. You
Yeah.
didn't read it.
No, that's smart. Okay. Yeah, send that to me, please. Possible.
All right, I'll send out my contract. And if you don't get it, who do we blame?
Joe.
This is almost as
We're
good
gonna
as
blame
watching a
Joe.
novella. This is almost as good as watching One Life to Live. I mean, this is like, wow. That's why I had this canary look on my face like that. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's what you get with me, man. It's just 20 years of mistakes that I've learned the hard way.
Yep.
As I tell people all the time, I don't mind paying, $4,000, $5,000 for a course, because courses are way cheaper than experience.
Yeah, or court fees.
I don't know if you guys were on when I was talking about the probate case the marathon probate case that I have a
Mhm.
$29,000 assignment fee on that should have
Mhm.
closed last August.
1 year ago.
Yeah. The probate attorney lied to us straight away for 2 months. She got fired. We hired another attorney who took a $600 check and ghosted my seller. Flat out ripped her off.
Mhm.
Hired another attorney who it took us 2 months to find. I mean, I went through like 15 attorneys interviewing them. Finally found a guy. He took $3,000 from her, and that was 3 months ago. My seller and I become friends, and I said to her, you mind if I take point on this? And she said, sure, because she's sick of it.
Right.
I called this attorney on the phone. He had no idea why I was calling. Didn't even remember the case. He said, I'll go back to the office and check on it. Never bothered to call me. Call him back the next day. I don't have time. He said to me, I don't have time to look at this. I'm in court all week, and I'm going on vacation next week. I'm like, okay. So I waited. When he got back from vacation, I called him. He had no idea what I was talking about. But he referred me to one of his other attorneys. So the next day I called that attorney, Scott Reed. He had no idea why I was calling. Never heard of the case. I'm like, really? He said, yeah. He said, I'll get back to you by the end of the day. Did he call me? No. So on Monday, that would be this week, I called him at 2:00. He was on a Zoom call and too busy to talk to me. I said, okay, fine. I called at 2:00 on Tuesday. He was on a Zoom call and too busy to talk to me. I called him on Wednesday at 2:00. He was on a Zoom. You getting a kind of a trend here? So on Friday, when I got the receptionist on the phone and she said, he's on a Zoom call and he's too busy to talk to you. I said, you realize he's had the exact same excuse at the exact same time of day, every single day this week. And she kind of choked on herself. And then she got me on the phone with the lead paralegal for the law firm. And magically, the document we needed to get filed with the court got filed today.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
But I guess what I'm saying to you guys is, when you get into these things, it's not easy. And and you can pay people to do things and they're just not going to do them. You just got to call them and call them and call them and call them until they do what you pay them to do.
Okay.
And everybody's like, why do you do that? Because I got a $29,000 assignment fee hung up in this contract and a buyer that's been wanting to buy this property for a year and a half.
I get you. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, September was not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. I really wanted to spend that money. I couldn't. But, you know, again, that's just another one of those things. Like, once you get them under contract and don't let it expire. Just go back to the seller and say, listen, this is going to take longer. You know, it's out of our control. I still want to buy it. I've still got a buyer for it. You know, and I did a 12-month extension. Oh yeah. And that's where the language came from, where I get a 1% reduction every single month.
Yeah.
So guess what? That $29,000 I should have made it 2% because the market's dropping about 1% a month. So my reduction is actually just keeping up with the market decrease.
Where it's at, yeah.
If I ever do that again in a downtrending market, I need to double the decrease.
Okay.
But yeah, that's why I picked 1%, because I figured that the market's going to, for the next 3 or 4 years, it's going to tick down 1% a month.
It is.
Now,
Yeah.
you don't see that everywhere, but that's like a national average. Eventually, Florida, Texas, and Arizona are going to hit the cliff. And when they do, you're going to see 50% price reductions. When Florida, Texas, and Arizona and Nevada crash, they crash fast.
You don't think it's going to be for a few years though? Those 3 markets specifically?
The market is going to continue. It's going to go down and down and down for the next 3.5, 4 years. That's what the data shows.
Yeah.
But what it is we kind of, and you look at every single the market that I track, it goes up, the values go up like this, and then we hit a pullback, and now it's kind of trending sideways, sideways, sideways. And technically, what that is called the denial phase. Sellers think that their properties are more valuable than they are, except because the interest rates, the buyers have fallen off. There are no buyers. So all these people that have investment properties, and there's a lot of them out there that have been rehabbed that are empty, and these people have been paying on them for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. When they start losing money on those properties, they're just going to cut them in half and cut their losses. And that's where the market drops really fast. That's
But
called
Florida already has a lot of foreclosures. Like I was reading a foreclosure market list, and Florida is up in the top 5.
Yeah.
So is Arizona.
And again, what that's called is the capitulation phase. So this is the denial phase. Once we hit the capitulation phase, you know, for several months, real estate drops 50% everywhere.
Okay, because yeah, Texas is the only one that's holding out.
And that reason why is because we have an open border and there's a lot of people coming across the border that need housing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Are they shipping them all over the country? Yeah. But
Texas also has the highest migrants coming in from different states.
Yeah.
The highest number of people moved to Texas from the coast. So
Yeah.
like New York, California, all these places, the most number was in the.
a lot of that is because China is collapsing as a manufacturing center for the world. And
Right.
a lot of the manufacturing is coming in back to the United States and back to Mexico. When you take a look at third world countries, Mexico's got like the highest and best education system in the world.
Right.
So that being said, there's a lot of very high skilled, highly educated people in Mexico. And that's where Mexico, I think it was a week or 2 ago, I published an article that Mexico is now overtaken China in manufacturing. Well, guess what the number 1 consumer market in the world is?
India.
No, it's America.
Oh, okay.
We're the biggest economy in the world by a factor of 3.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be importing stuff from Mexico, it's coming through California or Florida, or excuse me, California or Texas.
Right.
That's why there's so many people moving to Texas, because there's a lot of companies that are building factories. Look at Tesla. Tesla just built the biggest factory in the world in Texas.
Yeah, but Tesla's, he's a little crazy for me.
And
Let's not-
Microsoft,
Let's not get into the politics. I'm just taking a look at economics.
Not the politics. He's asking to fight Mark Zuckerberg in a cage.
Microsoft just announced that they're going to open a new plant here, a new building here. And guess where, Mike? 45 minutes from San Antonio.
On the south side, I'll bet.
No, it's actually west.
All right. Okay.
It's actually west in Castroville. So they're
But
building huge.
Like I said, if you guys get on YouTube and you listen to Peter Zion, he talks about this every single day. But the collapse of China will not be a country in 10 years. China will be 3 different countries in 10 years. And all that manufacturing is coming back to the United States, and it's going to Mexico. Well, when these major corporations build these big plants, the employees got to live somewhere.
Yeah, you're right. Southwest of San Antonio.
Close to the Mexico border.
Yes, yes.
And the reason why is because Mexico has got, when it comes to third world countries, I mean, not Western Europe and not United States, or Japan, but when you take a look at a third world country, they've got the best education system in the world. So, yeah, Mexico is set up for the next 40 years, both population-wise and economics. And that's why Southern California, Arizona, Texas, huge for investment for us to provide housing.
Good stuff, Mike. Good stuff.
Yeah, I encourage everybody to listen to Peter Zion. Zeihan.
So I have another question then. What do you think about this stock in ChatGPT? Do you know
I
anything
started
about it
using
yet?
ChatGPT 3.5 months ago. I use it for 2 hours every single day.
I love ChatGPT. I use it for everything. I'm putting up a website and I use it for content. They will rephrase anything you want to make it sound completely different. I have a friend of mine who does actually training on ChatGPT because he found out that Netflix has set aside $900 million for AI salaries, people who are AI engineers. Their salaries are going to be the highest paid in Netflix. So he actually, he has his own training classes for various things, but he's going into in-depth AI training now, and he's already finished like 3, and he has a waiting list.
Now, you guys know that the Hollywood writers are on strike, right?
Yes.
The
Maybe
reason,
we should,
do you know
maybe
the
we should put a script together on ChatGPT.
Do you know why they're on strike?
Because of the whole not getting paid and not
No,
having
because of
time.
AI. Because of
And
AI.
ChatGPT is replacing the writers for your TV shows and your movies.
Mhm. Yep, that's what it is.
And keep in mind, ChatGPT has only been out since November of last year.
That's
Yeah.
not what
Not even a year old yet.
But the version 4 is much better than the version 3.
Yeah,
There's a difference.
and they're actually saying that by the end of next year, like going into 2025, when you get a sales call, you're most likely talking to a computer.
Yeah.
I was listening to the guys that are on before Glenn Beck in the morning, and it was like a month ago. They actually played a live morning DJ, giving away tickets to some local concert like DJs do. And her name was like Ann. And then after she gave away some tickets, they turned it over to Ann AI. And the phone call to the person that they were giving tickets away to didn't know they were talking to a computer.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
And that was a month ago.
If you go on the social media platforms, there are videos of Trump praising Biden and Biden praising Trump, and you cannot say that those are fake videos.
Deep fakes. Yeah. That's going to be a big problem going forward.
It is.
But to Dennis's question is, ChatGPT is your future, brother. You got to use it every day.
No. My question is, I'm trying to find stock for ChatGPT. Beard is Google's Chat GPT. Beard actually came out before Chat GPT. I found that out through Brent Daniels, pay-per-click guy. He's a wizard, and he used to work for Jamil. But I'm trying to find out where I can get stock for Chat GPT right now, so I could buy it. I'll even buy it if I don't have anything else to sell my own kids.
Don't quote me on this, but I don't think it's public. I think it's an Elon Musk thing.
No, ChatGPT is not Elon Musk. He's coming out with his own thing. ChatGPT, yeah, he's coming out with his own thing, because when ChatGPT came out, he gave a statement, oh, it's not ready yet. There's a long way to go to make it better, blah, blah, blah.
I don't know.
But ChatGPT, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's part of the Microsoft thing.
Microsoft's got their own. They just came out with their own.
Their own. Okay, then this is a private company.
It's got to be it's got to be a private company. Because
Okay,
because I am sure with everything that GPT is doing right now, that everybody in the world will be talking about buying it.
well, let me tell you how you could make some money really quick, Mike, with Chat GPT on what you know. You could take this and go to Udemy and take some just a part of, let's say, Ron LeGrand stuff that you know,
Yeah.
and you could make videos on it and have God mode or Chat GPT write the illustration, and then Chat GPT find a video maker to make the video, and AI yourself, and then you could post it onto Udemy and start making 30, 40, 50, 60, $70 every video that someone buys.
So ChatGPT is owned by a company called OpenAI.
Right.
It was created by most of the tech heads of PayPal and Elon Musk, but none of them own stock and stake in it anymore. They're not owners of it at this time.
All right. What's Elon Musk's when he created PayPal? What was his partner's name?
PayPal was not created by Elon. That was some guy called Thiel, Thiel.
Elon Musk and Peter Thiel were partners, and they created PayPal.
Okay, yeah. So those two guys and some other, there's a whole list of names here, about 10, 15 names.
Elon Musk took his money and put it and bought Tesla, the Tesla company, and Peter Thiel was one of the first investors in Facebook.
Okay, so but apparently they don't own stock in it at this time. None of them do. It was started by Ilya Sutskever, Jessica Livingston, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Reid Hoffman, Greg Brockman, a name I can't pronounce, Zaremba, and John Schulman. All these people got together and started OpenAI, but none of them own stock in it at this time. That's what Google is saying.
So it's a privately held corporation.
It's a privately held corporation.
Yeah. But if it ever goes public, say goodbye to Google, say goodbye to Bing, say goodbye to Yahoo. They're gone. They're done.
Elon Musk has a whole different thing. And I've been seeing a lot of video shorts about he's doing something that's just gonna eliminate Google, Bing, everybody, Amazon, everything. He's got something in the works right now. It starts with an O. I can't think of it right now.
Right.
And it's going to be all in one, and he's going to use AI to operate the entire thing.
But you're absolutely 100% right. I save those videos all the time. I just don't have enough time in my week, believe it or not. I mean, I would love to create some tutorials about how to use PropWire, but I've been on the steep end of the learning curve for CapCut, just doing videos and stuff. Like after we get done with this, I'll throw this into CapCut, do some minor editing, and then put it up on YouTube.
So if you want to buy the stock in AI, Wall Street just did an article listing the 5 best AI stocks to buy for 2023.
And don't get me wrong, I mean AI writes my articles for me, but But what I do is I take that as the base article, and then I
Right.
spend 5 or 6 or 7 minutes tailoring it to my voice.
Yeah, you have to do that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a great way to get the 80% of it done.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I use
And
it.
they'll help you with resumes and anything you need.
Oh, there were, I just read 2 weeks ago, there was a couple lawyers that just got in trouble with the bar because they
copied and
had
pasted.
Chat GPT write up a brief, and the judge is like, hold a second, and she checked it and found out it was written by Chat GPT.
And also some teachers or somebody got thing because they were copying and pasting from ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yep. True. All true. So
So-
moral of the story is it ain't going away.
It's not going away. It's just going to make people more lazy, more dependent on technology, but everybody's going to use it and enjoy it.
And maybe because, you know, I'm from the Gen X generation, I don't just let it write it and then blast it out there just as crap. I let it do its job, and then I go back in and make it, you know,
I do too. I
put it in
edit
my
everything.
voice. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I edit it and, you know, make it mine.
One
You
of the
don't have
things.
to do that at all, guys. All you have to do is use Grammarly.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
No, but I mean, one of the things I've just started doing this week is I actually take my script, you know, my article that I post for the, you know, for tracking the numbers in all the different markets. I put it in there and say, give me a script, you know, a TikTok script. And I don't actually need the script because I've already written that. But what it does is it gives me the images to kind of describe what's in my script. So it's been actually telling me what pictures to go find to put it into my TikTok videos.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you know, it's one of those things. It's one of those. It speeds it up because it reads the sentence or two and the idea, and then suggests, you know, what picture you should use. Where I would probably have to sit there for 20 minutes trying to figure out the picture, and I wrote the damn thing.
Yeah. A friend of mine's in healthcare. He initially was the first person to do HealthNet, and then he sold it for billions of dollars.
Yeah.
But he was saying, he says in healthcare, what they're trying to do, he's formed a company that's working on doing this, is getting ChatGPT they'll put in the, like, you know, they put in the MRI and the X-rays, and ChatGPT will give you the results.
Yeah.
The report. That's the ChatGPT program his new company is working on. So he says it'll be instantaneous. You go in for your X-ray, you walk out, and in 5 minutes you'll have your report and you know, the disc and whatever else you need.
Yeah. And if they ever turn this thing loose on the internet 100%, I mean, think about it. You just go to ChatGPT. I'm looking for this parameter of house at this price range, you know, and this motivation. You know, wake up the next morning and be like, oh yeah, you got to call these 3 houses, or you got to call these 6 houses, you know?
Yeah.
And you'll call up and the realtor's like, oh, thank God, or not the realtor, but seller's like, oh, thank God you're calling me.
Yeah.
Because ChatGPT has figured out that the person is motivated right now.
Right.
Because it's not just analyzing information, it's actually looking at how that seller behaves.
Right.
Which, you know, is scary as hell, but hey, that's the world we live in today.
Well, the way that I've been using ChatGPT with real estate is putting in a letter, you know, to make agents feel comfortable wanting to work with me and making it sound sincere. Not begging for any business, not like that, but putting something just very quick and fast with text or a letter to them, and using ChatGPT, and also taking that ChatGPT paragraph and using wordtune.com on it and Grammarly, so it's written out so it doesn't look like it's ever been touched by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
You use Grammarly and which other site?
Grammarly.com and Wordtune.
Word 2, like WORD number 2.
Yeah, WORDTUNE. And I use it through text, and I use it through that way. I just, you know, put it on my clipboard and just copy and paste, and whoever it is, Jessica the agent, or it's Evan the agent, or it's, you know, go from there, and then it's done and over with, and I keep going on throughout my day. That way I'm not stuck on saying how I want to get this house, if it's a 3-2 fire burn, or, you know, I don't go for manufactured homes, but condo or anything like that.
Yeah. It's a great tool, you know, and it's going to get nothing but better. But I think what it's going to do, like, you know, like it's going to be like the computer was back in the 90s for business, is it speeds up the process. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I need an email. Oh, I need that topic, and write it in this voice. Boom. 5 seconds later, you got the whole chunk done, and now you just got to go down through it and, you know, add to it and take stuff out and done. What normally would have taken you an hour to write, you're done in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I haven't gone the route of taking my my script and putting it into whatever that program is that makes the videos. It actually does the graphics and everything.
That's some pretty cool stuff. Once we put it all to work.
Yeah. It's helped me a lot. I mean, prior to ChatGPT coming out, I was really horrible with social media stuff. Now I do it 2 hours every day, 7:30 to 9:30. And then, you know, and then I'll do some administrative stuff for an hour, and then it's making offers all day long and trying to keep deals going in the same direction. Yeah. But that's my day. It's just making offers. Anybody got anything hot coming up?
No.
Nobody? Nah. All right.
Yeah, I got some outreach that we've done some marketing with, me and another gator. And so I've got some leads coming in. I've had a lead, I think, every day for like 10 days now.
And this is flipping money, right?
Correct. Yeah, for gator deals and private money.
Yeah. Cool. What else? Anybody got anything else? We kind of got sidetracked, but I think everybody's doing a great job. I would say as a group, we're averaging more deals per day now. I shouldn't say deals, more offers per day. And over time, we're going to start getting more and more and more of them accepted. A couple of years ago, I was interviewing some people for a project that I was doing, and they were talking about at the height of the last crash. In other words, when after property values had dropped 50%, they were picking up 2 or 3 subject to deals a week. And all you have to do is walk up to the people's house, knock on the door, tell them about to buy their house, and they know that if they are in foreclosure and they're not going to sell it through a realtor. Those days are coming. They're not here yet. And for the love of God, I don't know why the market didn't crash 10 months ago, but eventually it's going to fall. I mean, average
New
mortgage.
Jersey, the prices are going back up.
Average
so?
mortgage. What's that?
In New Jersey, some of the areas, the prices are going back up.
Yeah, it's true.
People are actually getting multiple offers and getting more than they paid for again.
It's true.
Kind of like a cancer patient though, or a person that's on their deathbed, they bump up and they have energy for a little while, then they crash.
But the thing about it is, if you plan on being in a house for 10 more years, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. The market's going to go down and it's going to bottom out and it's going to come back up again.
Right.
It's been that way since they started tracking it way back in the 1930s. But yeah, I mean, so if you don't have any time pressure and you know you're going to be in the same house for 10 or 15 years, who cares what you buy for nowadays?
Yeah, that's true.
Now, that being said, if you're buying a house and you're worried about having to sell it 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, you're going to be underwater.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what I say about that property I've been making. I put a Section 8 veteran in there. The head of HUD told me that the average Section 8 stays in the property for 7 to 9 years.
Yeah,
If I'm going to get cash flow every single month for 7 to 9 years, I don't care what the value of the property is. I don't.
right.
Buy them right. So if it does pull back, but at the end of the day, and if it's cash flowing every month, who cares what the value is?
So you're almost done with that one.
I wouldn't say almost done. We're in the financing phase right now. So once I get my 2 finance guys to actually talk to each other on the phone, because I'll be honest with you, I've never done a silent second before. My partner does them all the time. He owns Section 8 properties up in that he took over from his dad up in New York City. So he's got a ton of experience. He's a great partner to have. I'm going to learn a ton from him because I've never owned a Section 8, but I'd rather bring somebody along that, has experience than having to, go through it by myself. But yeah, I'm going to share everything as I go here because I'm learning as I go. But I can absolutely tell you that everybody that I've shared my vision with about providing housing to veterans, everybody I've talked to is on board. Everybody wants to be a part of it. That's one thing I think doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on politically, everybody wants to take care of the military. Maybe not, the active military and, all the different things that, we have to do around the world. But when the guys get out of the military, everybody wants to take care of them.
Right.
But yeah, I'm on the learning end of that. But again, I'm buying it right, and I'm going to only finance it up to 80%, which means that, making can drop by 20% and I'll still be even. Now, if it drops by 30%, I'll be underwater because, I'll have $80,000 worth of financing on it and it'll be worth $70,000, but who cares? It's cash flowing every month. And one thing about government programs, they never reduce their payments. It always goes up. And the nice thing about public funding like that is that, they have automatic cost of living increases every year.
Right.
So, just like we were talking about that duplex, you put that, you make that Section 8, that's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
And from the kid that I actually learned, got interested in Section 8, I'm 21 years old. I think he owns 87 Section 8s right now.
Wow.
21
Yeah,
years
that's
old.
what this girl has done Section 8 before, who's partnering with me, and she said we never have to worry about the rent coming in. It's in the bank on the first. And she said they come in every quarter or every year. Each county is different, but they'll come and do a walkthrough. They make sure they'll come and talk to the tenants, and the tenants cannot have drugs in the house, and if they do, they lose their Section 8. So she says, in a way, it's like a backup to us to make sure that, everything is clean and the house stays up and up.
Yeah. And I have no desire to be a slumlord. So, I don't mind somebody going through a house and saying, hey, this needs this or this needs that. Like, okay, fine.
Right.
But one of the things.
They don't care if you don't have central air, they want central heat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So those are little things that she was telling me. She says, the floor has to be evened out. They don't care if it's carpet or if it's hardwood floor, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I said, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's when you're talking about income properties and long term, you want to own them long term, market fluctuations, evaluations don't matter.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I was thinking about this 21-year-old kid that owns 87 of them, and he's probably got them at 3% and 4% mortgages. The mortgage I'm going to have on this thing is going to be like 8%, and it still cash flows.
Yeah.
The deals are out there, but they're not in the heavily competitive areas. They're outside of those heavily competitive areas.
Right.
And by the way, the same thing goes for multifamily properties.
That's true.
For the first multifamily, the first 50 units I ever bought were not in Daytona Beach and they were not in Orlando. They were in DeLand, Florida.
Right,
There are no gurus talking about DeLand, Florida.
yeah. 10 years. I had cousins who were living in Vero Beach about 15 years ago, and they hated it.
Yeah.
They were like, it's so quiet, there's nothing to do, it's all old people. Now you have to understand they were in their mid-20s at that time.
Right.
They lived there and now they're really happy. They're like, oh my God, it's grown so much and the value of my house has gone up like 10 times.
Yeah. But the
So,
reckoning is coming for Florida.
it is coming because it has a lot of foreclosures.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Federal Reserve published an article yesterday. The Federal Reserve is going to raise rates again in September. They're gonna push
Yes.
mortgage rates over 8.5%, 9%.
Yeah. A friend of mine who's a real estate agent was telling me, and she used to do mortgages before. She says there was a time when mortgages were double digits. People don't remember that anymore, but there was a time when they were double digits. What are you guys crying about?
Late 70s and early 80s.
Yeah.
Yep, my mom had one. We used to go to Household Finance Corporation. That's where we got it going. 12.9.
And you guys have heard me talk about Ron LeGrand. You've heard me talk about Carlton Sheets, and you've heard me talk about Robert Allen. That's where all the creative financing stuff came from. Subject to and owner financing and wraps and blah, blah, blah. All that stuff came from back in the late 70s and early 80s. You could have 20% down. You could have perfect credit and still not qualify for a mortgage.
Yeah.
So the seller had to carry back a note to sell the property.
Yeah.
Because the banks just were not lending money.
And it seems like it's headed that way again.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike,
That's
do you
why-
remember those? Do you remember those signs that were in red and white and said "rent to own"?
Oh yeah.
Rent to own. It wouldn't say for sale by owner. No FSBO. It wouldn't say that anymore. It would say rent to own.
See,
Rent
the
to
thing,
own right here.
yeah,
There's
that's
actually a new company called Divi. They do rent to owns.
yes, that's true. And they're just doing lease options. That's all they're doing.
I don't know how that works, but I was thinking of reaching out to them and seeing if they would buy homes, because I'm sure they want cheap homes.
I watched a video of the CEO the CFO being interviewed, and she's like 23 years old.
Of Divi?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm showing my age when I don't trust 23-year-olds anymore.
Yeah, when I was 23 years old, I had my son. Well, my son was 2 years old and he was disabled. So I was in a whole different tangent.
Yeah.
At 23.
But you'll hear me say it all the time. Unless you're dealing with somebody who's got more than 15 years of experience, they haven't lived through a bad market, and we got one coming.
Yeah.
And that's where knowing creative financing is going to be really, really helpful.
Yeah, sub twos.
Yeah. But it's going to be rough for a while.
Yeah, it has to be, right? And everything has to get rough before it gets better.
That's the thing. Nothing goes up forever. I mean, when your government prints $3 trillion, that has an effect.
Yeah.
You can't be sending 400, 200, 300 billion dollars to a foreign country every month and not
Yeah.
have that show up in America.
It's coming. It's heading into,
And the reason why we talk about this is because the number one asset that most people have is the house they live in.
is the house they live in. Yeah.
It's the most expensive thing most people buy.
Yep.
And when it goes bad fast.
Mm-hmm. I know so many people who knew somebody. I knew a couple myself who committed suicide after the 2008, 2009, because their house went underwater. They had nothing. They lost their investments. The stock market had crashed. They're like, I don't know how to live. I don't know how to take care of my family. So many people committed suicide.
Yeah. And well, that's part of the reason I got so excited about the VASH program is because 22 vets commit suicide every day.
Wow, that's a
20
lot.
22 every day.
Wow.
The United States government spends $1 million training them. When they're done with them, they just turn them out and that's it. Bye. See you.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
They spend 6 weeks going through basic training. I think one of these guys, it might have been Dennis or it might have been, you know, one of these other guys said that the military should spend 6 weeks decommissioning them before they release them to the public. Train them how to reintegrate back into society.
Yeah,
But they don't. So what ends up happening is these guys, get out of the military, which is a very structured environment, and now they've got nobody telling them what to do.
right.
So now they got to figure out what to do. And a lot of guys don't transition well.
So are you working with this company that does, I forgot what it's called, but they when you're injured vet, they help you out, I think, with housing and things
I
like
will. I as the portfolio grows, I will.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot the name, but they're very popular. They
Yeah.
keep popping up everywhere.
Well, like I said, when I talked to the HUD, and I gotta call him again tomorrow. But last week when I talked to the HUD director, he's got 18 or 19 outstanding VASH vouchers.
Wow.
And because the market is going to get bad, it's already started to get bad for low-income people. They've got
Yeah.
record number. The government's got record numbers of people applying for Section 8.
And this is gonna be in Macon, Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Making what?
Carol?
Macon, Georgia.
Yeah,
Oh.
I sent you that. I sent you the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Mhm.
But yeah, in Macon, they're, like I said, the HUD director said they got 18 or 19 outstanding vouchers. That's 18 or 19 vets looking for housing right now.
Wow.
He said what that means is we have a shortage of landlords. And after talking to, these other guys that are vets, that problem is everywhere in America.
Yeah.
Just pick a city. I got this deal up in Chicago with this shaky buyer. All of a sudden, guess what? I talked to my private money guy. He's like, yeah, I'll fund that. No big deal. I've already spoken to the head of HUD for whatever county that Chicago's in. But they said, they wouldn't tell me how many vouchers they have, but they did say they have outstanding vouchers
Oh, okay.
for
And they all
military,
get-
not just
and these
Section
guys
8,
get- And then these guys get Section 8 as well?
military Section 8, not just Section 8, military Section 8.
Military section, okay.
And I'll absolutely tell you, when I called up and by the time I got to the director who handles this program,
Yeah,
the tone I got when I said I'm a landlord looking to put in a Section 8 tenant, the tone I got was, oh God. But then when I said I'm looking for the VASH program, you could hear the tone change in the people that I was talking to. Like, oh, you're trying to help vets? Oh yeah, let me put you on the phone with this person. I could hear the whole conversation tone change. It was incredible.
Right.
It's incredible. So that's my backup plan for Chicago if my guy flakes out.
okay.
Yeah, that's one of the other things is when you start buying stuff, always have a backup plan
Yeah,
because it's true. Sellers are liars and so are the buyers.
right.
And once you make,
What's that, Joe? You're cutting out.
once you do that, all you gotta do is just keep it up, wash, rinse, and repeat.
That's right. That's the plan.
Yep.
At this point, I'm just trying not to bite off more than I can chew.
Yeah.
But I can absolutely tell you, I think, Farah, you might be the one who turned me on to PropWire.
I did.
Okay. If I can get this deal in Chicago to close and get my assignment fee out of it, I'm going to hire a cold color from Propware.
Okay,
I'm gonna give it a try.
yeah, they're good.
That's what you said. They're like what, $6 an hour.
$6 an hour,
They're from Egypt, but they were all educated in England.
US.
They were all
US,
educated in the US.
England, US, England, mix of both, but in a
Yeah.
foreign speaking country.
But I would love to have somebody with an English accent. Everybody loves an English accent.
Yeah.
Just like when an American goes to Australia, everybody loves an American accent in Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, having an English caller is, you know,
Right.
the law firm that I was telling you that's handling this Bartow deal for me, their voicemail is an English woman.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, sure. There's an English woman living here in Polk County. Sure. It's like the most redneck county in all of Florida.
Yeah. So anyway, I have to go to feed my son. So
All right.
we'll
Good
talk
talking to you.
Monday. Nice talking to you.
Anybody
Bye-bye.
else? Anybody else got any questions out there, or are we done? I mean,
No, I'm
it doesn't have
good.
to be, it doesn't have to be questions. Bring a deal, man. Bring a deal. Share it with the group.
I appreciate it, Mike. Good stuff
All right.
today.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
As always, if you guys got any questions, comments, whatever, text me or email me.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
All right.
Wait
talk
a
to you guys
minute, now,
later.
wait a minute. Don't
Oh,
forget to send the stuff. Don't forget to send the stuff or else we're gonna yell at Joe.
Joe, what am I sending out?
You're sending out your purchase and sale agreement. And you're also sending out, oh, you were gonna change, yeah, there's for the loans to go through you?
Yeah, the deal funding form.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Purchase agreement, contract and,
Yeah, the one that I use for sub 2 and owner financing.
right, and
Right,
all the other
cool.
good stuff that we don't remember, that Joe didn't write down.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
the
don't,
language.
I don't remember either.
The
It was two
language.
things. It was the how to get a loan information to you to get to Icon to John.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the deal funding form. My
Right.
my owner financing and sub 2 contract. But I thought there was one more thing.
Yeah, the contract. Is that including the information that you had spoken to me about the 1% each month? The language. In
Oh,
the contract.
That's in the
That's
that'll
in
be
the contract, right?
It's already in there. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah.
contract. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay,
cool. All right,
all
guys.
right.
Great talking to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
thanks.
I've
Mhm.
learned a lot
Thanks,
tonight.
Mike.
All right, I'm gonna go try chat GBT now.
All right, let's close some deals this week.
Yes,
Right
sir. Bye.
All right.
See ya.
Bye, bye, you guys.